What's up, you wrestling fanatics and friends? You're listening to the True Wrestling Podcast, episode 109 or 10. Thanks for tuning in. Today, Jamie and I do a Big Ten seeding preview. We go weight to weight, talking about all the matchups and really focusing on the Penn State, Iowa, and Pennsylvania guys. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Adidas Wrestling. You can check them out at adidaswrestling.com. You can use coupon code TRUE, TRUE 20 at checkout on any web order and get 20% off your purchase. Without further delay, here's our conversation. All right, Jamie and I are back. It's almost like Christmas Eve. Big Ten pre-seeds came out today. Were you as excited as I was, Jamie?
I was, but it caught me off guard. I didn't expect them to be out 5 days in advance of the tournament. That seems early. But pleasant surprise, good distraction from work. I just didn't expect them that soon.
Yeah, I think this is the soonest they've come out. Like, I think last year was maybe on a Tuesday. A couple years ago before that, I think there was a day where they were late, and maybe it was a Wednesday. So anyway, I'm sure the historians will clobber me because I'm wrong. But anyway, if you're Iowa and a Penn State fan, I think this is going to be a pretty darn close tournament. With missing a round compared to nationals, Penn State's national champions, if they get to the finals, are just going to score one round of less points. And, we were just talking about it. Pirate put up the team points, and what did he say, Jamie?
1.5. 1.5 point difference for Penn State. Iowa over Penn State.
Now, that doesn't count any bonus points. Yesterday, I just went through the projected lineups. Iowa's projected lineup has a bonus rate this season of 40% combined, all 10 wrestlers. Penn State's has a bonus rate of 51%. Will that materialize? Will that 11% make a difference? And of course, we're not even talking about seeds getting knocked off because there's I don't know if they're trap matches, but there's a bunch of matches in here. They're going to be competitive in the quarterfinals and the semis.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I mean the small bracket does not favor the team with the high end talent. That lets everybody else score points. I haven't studied the numbers in depth, but I'm really surprised that they got Iowa ahead. But maybe there's some surprises in the seeds I haven't recognized yet.
Gotcha. Well, we'll see. And the other thing is that when we're talking about the three front runners, Penn State, Iowa, and then Michigan maybe in a tier by itself right now. Depending on how things break for them, the Penn State team has had a number of people who've become national champions, but not Big Ten champions that same year.
Oh, it's crazy low. Of the guys like Vincenzo, he had 0 Big Ten titles.
Exactly.
He had it in his Twitter handle for a while.
Exactly. So Vincenzo and Brooks lost to Kemmerer, and this is ridiculous. This is how tough the Big Ten is. The national finals, Starocki, Kemmerer, is it going to be possible semifinal match?
Same with 285.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll get up there. All right, so this is going to be a great tournament. If you haven't looked on the Rockfin page, I've got the schedule laid out, what's on the Big Ten Network, what's on Big Ten Plus. You can watch everything between the two outlets. Big Ten, I think this is the most they've ever carried. They're not carrying any of the wrestlebacks, but I think every championship match will be on the actual network.
There was let me try to find it. That was tweeted out earlier today as well. A few people posted the Big Ten TV plan.
It's on my Rockfin page, dude.
Okay.
So it's the opening round, all the championship rounds. So Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. I think is it 4 championship sessions?
But they're doing BTN TV / BTN Plus. Does that mean they're doing the Contis on the Plus?
I think it's Conti's on the Plus. Although when in the championship round where it opens up, it looks like they're going to do a simulcast on both.
Oh, okay.
I think. I didn't call them up. They don't like me. Fox Sports, they threaten me. Anyway, so we covered a little bit of stuff, big picture things. There's some great matchups here. You want to just jump into 125? Or you have other big picture things to talk about?
No, I mean, yeah, we can just jump into 125. I mean, it gets into it real quick. I mean, you start to see how injuries play out and missing time and a lot of that stuff, how that affects the seeds and what do they value when it comes to some of these.
So historically, the 1 and the 2 are getting buys because there's 14 teams and they're using a 16-man bracket.
Yep.
So Suriano comes in at 1 seed, no surprise. He'll probably have the winner of the 8-9 match, McKee, and that's who I'd pick, the 8 seed, Pat McKee out of Minnesota over the guy from Rutgers, I believe. I think Nicky Nostash crushes him. And then he'll get, possibly Malik Heinzelman, who he, took a while to, I think he opened it up on him earlier in the season during the duel.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things is, and it goes into what do they look at in seeding, McKee at the 8 has 3 wins over Ayala at the 6.
Like, what? Yeah, these transitive properties are crazy. There's a bunch of seeding conundrums where you've beat the guy above you and then you've lost to the guy who's below you.
Yeah.
Overall, I have no really bad complaints. You might say there's a couple guys who are getting, what did Tom Brand say? You get what you earn or whatever it is. But, yeah, interesting. Penn State's Hildenbrand. My guess is that he'll face the 7 seed, DiAugustino. He'll have Cardani in the first round. I don't know if you've seen Michael DiAugustino. He's a super funky guy. I don't think he'll be able to create the scrambles he wants with Hildenbrand.
No.
But we've talked about Hildenbrand is not that hard to game plan for, but I don't think DiAugustino has the skills to pull off that game plan where you are. The real thing is, will he attack and will he create scrambles for Drew Hildenbrand?
And that's going to work against him for the most part. The more you shoot on him, the more his better game is going to play out. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that avoid that, and you've seen how those matches play out, and they get slow and long, but he's been winning most of them.
Yeah. So, DiAugustino, the last thing I'm going to say is like one of the, I hate to say this, but maybe one of the worst beards or the best beards, depending on what you like in college wrestling. That sucker is patchy, but I'm going to take Hildenbrand there. We already talked about Suriano being the prohibitive favorite. Takes out Heinzelman, my guess. And then it's Hildenbrand and Eric Barnett semi. They didn't face each other this year. Be an interesting match.
Yeah, I haven't seen the beard, so I can't speak to that at all. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the top side is pretty clear. I think Suriano. But Hildenbrand, Barnett, or does Ayala have anything with Barnett? I'm pulling for Hildenbrand to be able to come through and get to the finals at least. I think 3 through 8 and the rest of that could be a total crapshoot because those guys are just like McKee. There's a lot of up and down results in there.
Yeah, I'm not. Ayala. We all know he's not 100%. I feel like Bono, and I'm not saying the brands aren't smart, but they value intensity. And I think Bono has both intensity and game planning. I mean, just a really bright dude. And the pace that he's turned Wisconsin around, which is a traditional powerhouse, kind of what, went on some soft times, and they're back and they're wrestling really hard. I would take, I'm guessing it's going to be a Penn State-Wisconsin semifinal. And I'm going to pick, this is crazy. I've been leaning towards Barnett all day, just thinking about it in my mind. But I'm going to go Hildenbrand, and Suriano wins in the finals.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you there. I mean, it's very likely. It's going to be an upset if it's not those two, and we'll see if Suriano opens up a little bit more like he has in more recently against some people. But I think Penn State would be very happy with Hildebrand as the runner-up.
Yeah, so what was it, a 2-1 score in the duel, I believe?
Yeah.
Was an escape and a riding point for Suriano, and then just an escape, I believe, for Hildenbrand. The thing that Penn State, I'm sure they're not nervous, but what they, winning close in the postseason leaves you, and we've talked about it before, vulnerable to losing close. So, I don't think we're going to see Hildenbrand change anything up, but it's a matter, I think Barnett matches up with him body type-wise. I think he is strong enough to handle some of the leverage that Hildenbrand has, and will Hildenbrand able to get the boots in? That's the question right there. For me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his top work is where he makes his money.
Yeah. All right, well, I got that's it. Those are my, and I would say that, look, we got returning All-American Devin Schroeder in the mix here. We didn't mention him.
He's potential wild card because if he can be anything like he was in the past, he's clearly way better than 5 seeds.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the Heinzelman has grown into the position, and Schroeder didn't look great so far this year, but he looked pretty good in March last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
sure.
I mean, he could be a bracket buster. Ayala, hard saying, how much pain he's going to be able to endure. But those are my top guys.
That all makes a lot of sense.
Going up to 133, RBY is the 1 seed, DeSantos 2, Lucas Bird, Illinois 3, Rayvon Foley, Michigan State 4, Dylan Ragusin, Michigan, Brock Hudkins, Indiana, Cannon, Northwestern, Olivieri, Rutgers, and Ramos, Purdue 9. No surprise to see everybody at the top. It seems like 1 and 2 have created separation. To me, some of the interesting matchups, I think RBY came out and said some funny things. He's not going to decide till the end of the summer if he's coming back. I find that kind of interesting. Just like
the end of the summer.
I think that's what he said. Someone texted me today. He could have said it yesterday. I'm not sure. But like if he's gonna be back at I guess that's when you enroll in school. I don't know. I just imagine either Christian Piles or Kyle Sanderson needs to have a plan for that team. And to me, like Kale's gonna want to have a plan for 33.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt he wants a plan. It was funny. I was listening to a podcast with his dad yesterday. And they talked about some of that kind of stuff where you got a game plan. You got to have a plan.
Yep. Steve's good. What was that? Changed My Life? Or was that? Yep. I think I listened. I saw it. I didn't hear it yet. You know how I am with wrestling media. Anyway, so RBY opens up with Olivieri or the Ramos, whoever wins. Rutgers is wrestling tough, but so is Purdue. And I didn't go back to see who won. And then DeSanto opens up with Hudkins or Cannon. I've seen Hudkins on the Big Ten Network twice. Kid wrestles hard for 7 minutes. I'm taking him in the opening round. I don't think he'll be able to handle DeSanto. And then, do I have that right so far, Jamie? Am I getting the matchups right? Is it?
Let's see. Hudkins is
7-10.
7-10's Cannon Serrano.
Oh.
Hudkins is 6, so he's going to have the 11. So he's got Berwick.
Yeah, I'll still take Hudkins there. Yeah, I should have my readers on, dude. So, the real question.
I'm drawing some brackets here. I'm just taking a second is all.
Are you drawing them by hand?
No, taking my Excel and putting some formulas together and making it do some artwork.
We saw DeSanto not look great necessarily early in the season. I don't know where he gave RBY a tough match, but RBY just had to go behind, and that was pretty much it. I'm kind of curious to see. I'm assuming this is DeSanto's last year. Brands has made some funny statements about him during the season. I don't know where he's at as far as is he excited about this? Is he passionate? I mean, he's always intense, but where is he at? And he didn't wrestle Bird this year during the season. Last year he destroyed him. I think was a major decision. So I gotta say that to me it looks like there's Rayvon Foley, good guy out of Michigan State. I don't think that RBY's gonna have a hard time with him. Any thoughts on that before we go to the final?
You're saying you think DeSanto Bird is going to be easy?
He bonus pointed them last year. I don't know.
Everybody struggles with him the first time.
Yeah.
So he's felt him. He's seen how others have handled the arm attack, all of that stuff. And Bird's pretty funky. So I'm not going to say he's beaten him. I'm going to say it's going to be close this time. Just because, like I said, the big names he's won has all been on the first try.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Micic, DeSanto, or Micic, RBY, everybody big he's beaten was only on the first try. After they've gotten a feel for it, almost every single one has gotten it back.
Yeah, and Bird has he didn't wrestle anybody in the top five. He had Cannon, he had Philippi, he had Olivieri, and was pretty dominant except for the Philippi match. So I'd be curious. The one thing that kind of strikes me, just going back to wrestling DeSanto, is why no one uses the speed skater stance that the RBY has used against DeSanto just to keep him off. Is it because you're just not athletic enough to respond to DeSanto's counters if he doesn't get the tricep for his dump? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I mean a lot of the guys do hide the legs, hide everything with these guys, and you would think that there would be more of that copying across the board. And I don't know if they're just too proud to be like, nope, we're good, we're tougher than that, we're gonna wrestle through it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. There certainly is no reason that they should be not trying to take advantage of good intel of how other teams have beat these guys. Yeah,
I mean, you might not be as quick or as athletic as RBY, but sometimes he still hides that arm back there. I mean, it's hysterical.
Oh, absolutely.
It's ice skating. Anyway, I'm taking RBY and DeSanto, I think, in the finals. And I think it might be anticlimactic again. I don't think RBY is going to show him anything. And that's just my my thoughts.
He certainly did the last time. He certainly was, I'm good, I don't need to do a lot, and I'm okay with that, and I will win close.
Yeah. I think he may save a little bit of it for, the NCAAs. We know that Penn State has done that in the past. You get a feel sometimes at Big Tens. Nick Lee and Ironman last year, Vincenzo and, Aymar. I mean, so you got both those guys in the finals with RBY winning?
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Going up to 41, Nick Lee from Penn State is the 1. Ironman is the 2. Sebastian Rivera, undefeated, wrestled more matches than Ironman, is the 3. I don't know if it really matters if you want to quibble with that a little bit, but they're both away from Nick Lee. Chad Red, Nebraska is the 4. Berglund 5, Micic 6, D'Amelio 7, Zargo 8, Duncan 9.
Yeah, the weird thing is we just had allocations come out not too long ago, and the allocations are in dramatic disagreement with some of these seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Micic did not earn an allocation, but yet he's seeded 6th.
Right. Little favoritism. I mean, he did not have a good season.
Agreed. I mean, but it's just very inconsistent.
Yeah.
You're not good enough to meet the criteria for an allocation, but you're going to get the 6th seed over some of these other people. Now, you can tell they went head-to-head because Berglund is the oddball in the group sitting at the 5 seed because name recognition, he doesn't jump up that high, but he has to head-to-head over Micic, so they kind of started there and worked down, I guess.
And I guess the punishment for Rivera getting the 3, even though he wrestled more than Ironman, is he gets to face Micic, possibly. And does Micic turn it on? Like, how is this where Micic he's ready to just go 100% after the Olympics and Worlds and putting on the weight? Or is he the same guy who has been lackluster during the season?
Right. Yeah. I mean, was he potentially holding back, and now he's feeling better? I don't know. I mean, that's just it. It's like, where is he? What was the reason as to why he was struggling all year, or just not getting the results? I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm like, some people just don't want to be in college for 8 years, and they're just tired after a while, and it gets old.
Yep.
But you just don't know.
Yeah. Well, Nick Lee hasn't wrestled either of the guys he'll likely wrestle at 8 or 9, Zargo or Duncan. Wisconsin, Illinois, there was no duel there. Ironman is got the 7 or the 10, so he's got either D'Amelio or Talashur from Northwestern. I think D'Amelio wrestles a little bit harder. I think he also has a win this year over Frankie. So, to me, the real issue is the first thing that on this possible chart is that Micic Rivera match, and does Micic do something with Rivera? Does he knock him out? Does he make a run? Rivera has looked lights out this year, really impressive. Hasn't wrestled a ton of the top guys, right? He didn't wrestle Nick Lee, and he had 2 matches. What was it? Who did he wrestle against Penn State when they came out there? I'm drawing a blank.
When Rutgers came to Penn State?
Yeah.
41, did they bump Schnupp or somebody?
Yeah, Lee. Oh, maybe they, somebody bumped up because Lee was out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Rivera only had 2 regular season matches that weren't bonus point. Quinn Kenner and I'm drawing a blank right now.
It's high. I'll tell you that his bonus rate is high. But in looking at what the matchups are going to be, how about a Sebastian Rivera Stefan Micic quarterfinal?
Yeah. Right.
That's your 3-6.
That's your 3-6. You got the Olympian, and you got a guy who appears to the rap on Rivera last year was he wasn't big enough at 41. So I think he is this year. I'm going to take Rivera because just what he showed me this year. I don't know what's going to happen with Ironman. I picked Rivera to win it all last year, and it didn't work out. To me,
I want to see him in Ironman. I'm with you. Right now, that certainly looks to be the big one. And if seasons go to form, you got to pick Rivera.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Ironman wrestled Lee really tough in the duel. Didn't look great up to that point, and there's something to. And I'm not saying these guys aren't practicing hard, but you compete to the level that you train at generally, and Was he banged up? I don't know. He just hasn't looked nearly as good as he did last year. I thought for a while people had caught up to his cutting the corner and getting all sorts of turns, and maybe they have. I've seen mixed results. I was a little convinced of that earlier in the season. I'm taking Rivera and a Rivera-Lee match, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if Rivera won this match, sort of like Nick Lee with the finals last year. I mean, Rivera's beaten quality guys. He's beaten Spencer Lee, and he's beaten Glory, I think. I mean, he's a stud.
Oh, he's good. I mean, and that's clearly, if you're a Penn State fan, that's your big worry, is seeing Rivera in any shape or form. Not that you aren't worried about Ironman, but you've been there, you've done that, you've seen that. That is not as concerning in a way because it's not new.
Yeah, and Lee seems to have the formula to make Ironman wilt a little bit at the end of the match. Now, to me, I don't think Rivera is probably working out pretty much with Ash, Schnalte be mobbing over there at Rutgers. I'd be curious. The thing with when he beat Spencer Lee was he got out to that early lead, and Spencer just couldn't catch up. Now, would Rivera wilt the same way with a Nick Lee pace? Probably, if Lee can get out from underneath his ride and make up a couple of takedowns. I'm looking forward to that match. Like, to me, it's circled.
Oh, that's definitely the big one for sure.
Yeah. On the other hand, Iowa needs that semifinal to keep pace with the seed, and Penn State needs that championship to keep pace with the points. Not that they're thinking about it, just the fans are, but those are the things behind the things.
The only thing I'll say is we know Penn State, and based upon the numbers and what you had said before, is they could care less about winning Big Ten. I mean, it's crazy to think how they have so many more national titles, national champs, and titles from the team and the individuals at the Big Ten than they do in nationals.
So true. So true.
It's just ironic.
Yeah. Yep.
It's part of that peaking. I mean, it's like you're not peaking for the first week in March, you're peaking for the third.
Yeah. Going up to 49. We got Sammy Sasso coming as the 1, Austin Gomez, Wisconsin, as the 2, Ridge Lovett, Nebraska, the 3, Max Murin, the 4, Yaya, Mr. March Thomas, the 5, Mike Van Brill, 6, Bo Bartlett, 7, Christian Kanzler, the 8, and Graham Rooks is the 9. So, the first time we don't have an Iowa Penn State guy at the top here. I guess 25. Penn State's the 2, but so you got Bo Bartlett. He's got the 7 or the 10, or he's got the 10. Blockus from Minnesota. I don't think that Penn State wrestle Minnesota this year?
No, we did not see.
So we haven't seen that match, most likely.
Yep.
And so, Bartlett has had a up and down season. You're real curious to see what kind of aggressiveness you're going to get to see from him as a Penn State fan. He had a really close match. I think he lost in sudden victory to Van Brill, who was a 6 seed. 1 seed ahead of him. I think that was sudden victory. To me, the couple interesting things, at Sasso, Gomez get first round buys. But when we're looking ahead at the 4-5, I picked Yaya Thomas to win Big Tens last year, and he barely qualified. I think he did some yeoman's work in the backside, so maybe he did more than barely qualify. But if I'm Max Murin, and then he had a great NCAAs when I didn't pick him. I'll be curious to see, 4-5, what happens there with Thomas and Murin. Murin has not looked really strong, and this is one of those things I could see easily, breaking a seed. And I would really look forward to seeing a Yaya Sasso quarter.
Oh, the quarterfinals are great in this one. I want to see Bo and Austin. I mean, I would rather have Bo wrestle him than some of the other guys because he's good in the scrambles and he might have a chance to do something crazy in the middle of them.
Yeah, so he's got Blockus and then
Van Brill, but you're right. I mean, Murin should be nervous about Yaya on the quarters.
Yeah. So Bartlett's got, like we said, Blockus and then possibly Gomez if he beats Blockus. And then if, from there he'd have to go do some yeoman's work to qualify. I don't know what the total number is of allocations. I wrote it down. I can't bring it up on my screen. But, there's a lot of good wrestlers, and he's lost to Van Brill. And I don't know if he's lost to Yaya.
Didn't wrestle this year. Looking last year. Lost to him in sudden victory, 7-5 at the Big Ten Championships in the final play, or when the second match, whatever, I'm losing it. He also lost to Blockus last year at the Big Tens. So both were close matches, 2-point matches. This is something that Penn State needs. They need Bartlett to get out and beat Blockus. This, is the opening match, and if he loses to Gomez, then he's in the backside doing yeoman's work over there and trying to make a run. Yeah,
Otherwise,
it's tough for sure. Getting to the semis any which way was going to be really hard with these four, but he got the choice of the four, where you think, even though he's had so many close matches with Sasso, only losing by one, I don't think it's ever been, it's been close enough that he could win, but you still think of it as he'd be stealing a takedown late.
Mm-hmm.
Lovett he would have to avoid going underneath with him. Murin, I just think he's got a better puncher's chance against Gomez.
I think you're right. And, my concern on the backside is that this is a tough bracket. Kanan Storr, who's a good wrestler, is coming in as the 11 seed.
Peyton O'Malley at 13.
13, right? This is at Michigan State, there's another team, change of coach, and these guys are coming. They're wrestling hard. I love seeing that. They've been an afterthought. So, anyway, tough bracket.
They didn't change a coach recently.
Say it again?
They didn't change coaches recently.
What, 3 years ago?
Yeah, all right. So wasn't sure you're recent.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're building here. I think the cupboard was empty when there was not a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So things I would look forward to. I would love to see a Yaya Sasso. Is that quarter or not semi?
Yeah.
Sorry, semi. The athleticism there would be pretty incredible if both guys are on point.
Yeah, no doubt. That would be, there's Yaya's fun to watch. Lovett's fun to watch. Gomez is fun to watch. Sasso has gotten less flashy. It seems like he's a little more dialed in. Omani is a Greco guy that loves to go over body and throw you.
Yep.
There's a lot of fun guys in here.
And maybe the most fun guy we haven't even really mentioned really is Lovett. He's a big move guy. He's exciting to watch. He has the 14, so he's got White, and then he would have probably the 6, which would be Van Brill. I don't think that either guy is gonna give Lovett a problem. Lovett's a lot of fun to watch, but he's got some holes in his game that makes him susceptible, I think, to guys who are really good point to point, station to station. Shot, quick finish, we're not scrambling. And, so I'm going to take Gomez over Lovett, even though I'm a Lovett fan. I think Gomez is a little bit on a mission this year.
Oh, yeah. He came back from the injury. He wants to, I don't know if it's his literal last go, but he wants to do it again. He wants to get back to NCAAs.
Yeah. So I'm going to end up taking Gomez over Lovett. I think that I think Thomas beats Murin. I think Sasso wins the entire thing.
that's the safe bet for sure. Is Sasso. I mean, he's only lost a handful of times the last couple of years, and I don't see anybody else. I mean, Gomez could go funky and hit something big on him and create a stir. So there's a possibility there, but otherwise, I don't really see too much room for him to get upset.
Agree, and I don't know. I'd give this a footnote. Someone in the last week or two put out there that I think over the last 10 years, the 1 seed is won somewhere between 50 and 55% of the time at Big Ten. So, if we had the third week of March, Yaya Thomas, I might be picking him.
No, it makes sense.
Jumping up to 57, we got Ryan Deacon as the 1, Caleb Young 2, Will Lewan 3, Kendall Coleman 4, Peyton Robb 5, Chase Saldate 6, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Garrett Model 7, Robert Kennard 8, Bryce Hepner 9, Brady Berge 10. This is for Iowa fans where you might be able to get some point separation, and if you're Penn State fans, you're hoping Berge can get a win over. So he
Model.
comes in. He's got the 7 seed, so he's got Garrett. They didn't wrestle each other. Berge, this is he's down a weight class. They need some points on the front side and the back side from him because if he ends up beating Model, the 7 seed, which is yeoman's work in itself, what he's got is 10.
Caleb, he's got
Young, and I think that's he didn't look like the Iowa duel. He looked maybe as bad as he's ever looked. So it's a matter of whether his weight is right. Can he make the weight? And whether he's going to be able to wrestle tough because. They got Caleb Young, and then, most likely the backside. And can he make a run on the backside? Because he's not going to get a wild card allocation.
Not likely. And this way deep. I mean, I'm actually surprised Lewan got the 3 over Coleman. And then Peyton Robb is the 5. I mean, Peyton Robb almost beat. He almost beat O'Connor and he almost beat O'Carr like in the first week of the season. So,
right, it was close matches, right?
Yeah, like winning late and loses them at the buzzer.
Yeah.
That 1, 4, 5 are loaded. Lewan and Saldate are, I'll say, I feel like they're not as strong. But Model beat the Minnesota kid before he got hurt and was out for the season. And then Young is tough. So, I mean, this weight is sneaky deep.
Where he beat Brayton Lee before Lee got hurt, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a deep weight class. And, so the only guy who's had Deacon's number in the last, 3 years is Jesse Delavecchia, sucked back, tight waist half Nelson in the semis last year. Otherwise, he hasn't lost a match since, I think, 18. Is that right?
NCAA's been a while, but Caleb Young beat him twice in the past. Yeah, I agree. Deacon's on a mission. He wants to redeem himself from last year, and he's looked tough this year. I mean, I think, has he wrestled a ton, or has he sat out some?
I just don't think that Northwestern had a ton of matches this year. He beat Peyton Robb 4-2. And Quincy Monday 8-3, and those are the only people in the top 10 that he wrestled. Beat Saldate, he pinned Saldate, and pinned Kendall Coleman. So, I got to say that Deacon's got to be the favorite. The thing for Iowa is that Young wins close, and just like Drew Hildenbrand, that leaves you really vulnerable in these team matches where you're trying to get everybody to get as many points as possible. The question is, can Caleb Young, put together a really good tournament? He lost to Brayton Lee lost to Ed Scott, lost to Josh I think he lost to Josh Humphreys this year. So, it's been an up and down year for him, and maybe I'm wrong about that.
He lost to Ed Scott. Ed Scott pinned him in the headlock.
Yeah, the headlock, right? Dude, the headlock. He's like Garrett, who is the old Penn State and Drexel wrestler? Garrett Hammond.
Oh, Hammond.
The Hammond headlock. The technique looked really similar. So, Caleb Young he wins under control. I don't know if he is. I mean, he's got maybe one bonus point match all year. Everything's been pretty close, and I'm not sure where his confidence level is. I think he's probably lost 4 or 5 matches, and I'm just curious. Like he just doesn't seem motivated to wrestle hard, and where he doesn't. Maybe he's just not taking as much pleasure as some of his teammates in wrestling. So I'm taking Deacon. I'm going to take. I think that Peyton Robb is going to be a tight match. I think Robb beats Coleman, but I could be wrong there. I'm taking that Robb versus Deacon, and it's going to be a tight match.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Deacon's going to win it as far as coming out of the bottom side. Young is the obvious choice, but yeah, I don't know if anybody. The top side is way stronger than the bottom, for sure. I think he might benefit from that somewhat easier bracket and move his way through pretty easily.
Yeah. So I'm going to end up taking. Well, I'll take Deacon to win it all. I think that Berge for Penn State, if he doesn't finish, substantially above his seed, that's going to really hurt Penn. If he qualifies, first of all, he's going to have to you have to finish above his seed to qualify. I think. Right. Was it 9 in this weight class? I can't remember.
I didn't look at the allocations that close.
But he's going to have to do some heavy lifting and really question why he returned to wrestle. Because Cale doesn't really call a lot of people out, and he kind of called them out. Struggling with his weight, and I'm sure his performance versus the Bull was not the most inspiring. So. Sometimes it's easy to say, hey, I got that year to compete and I really want to do it, but doing it in the Big Ten is a whole nother level of business.
Yeah, I mean, I would not have guessed that 57 would have been this tough, but when we get to 65, you'll see that looks pretty loaded as well.
Totally. Well, let's go up to 65. We got Carson Karchla as the 1, the Bull 2, Hamidi 3, which is, if the Cedars had any, that match was worth the price of admission, the Wisconsin-Iowa match. Cam Amin, 4, Caleb Fish, 5, Brongel, Lowry, Wilson, Carlson from Minnesota rounds it out with 9. Number 10 is Creighton Edsel from Penn State. Ferrante, boy, oh boy, Clark, McIntosh, and then Bell. So many. This is another tough weight class, and this is where I just guess we're looking at the Hamidi Marinelli match. Those guys, not the match, but those guys are just wrestling really tough. Karchla is wrestling tough. Amin has gotten, I guess, better maybe as the season has gone on. I know he had I don't know, was it COVID?
I'm not sure if it was injury or COVID, but yeah, he definitely has had some up and down, not quite as solid of a season as he had last year.
Yes. So, Penn State fans, I mean, this is a tough one when you got Edsel coming in as a 10 and another weight class where, Iowa's got the 2. They're looking for some separation. So Edsel will end up facing the 7 seed, who is
which you can't complain about. That's a winnable match.
It is, yeah. And Edsel has he lost his spot to Berge, and he wrestled pretty hard, and he looked better than Negron for Penn State. So if he gets past the 7, then he ends up getting Caleb Young.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And there's a little head-on-head violence. I don't know if, if...
No, Marinelli.
I'm sorry, did I say Marin? I said Young. Yep. You'd have Marinelli. And does his size or length create any trouble for the Bull? I don't know. I don't think so. Marinelli's done great in the Big Tens. It's the NCAAs that is his problem. Karchla, will either face Amin or Fish. I don't know if I'm going just on reputation with Cam that I would take him. The other thing I'll say is that Carlson and Wilson at 8 and 9. I think Carlson wins that. He wrestles hard, but I don't think Karchla has any trouble dispatching him. I've been talking for a while. What do you think?
I think the top 4 are pretty scratched in this one. I think it's going to be hard for anybody to move those guys, and I don't see a semi that doesn't have those 4. I think Karchla handles Amin. Hamidi Marinelli, does Hamidi change his game plan now that he gets him a second time? And either that semi or that final are going to be must-watch matches because Hamidi is just fun to watch anyway. Anytime he wrestles, but
did you watch his Marinelli match, the duel?
No, I missed that.
He was literally at the end of the match. I think he did a takedown, either to win or tie, and he was just throwing himself at Marinelli. And it looked like Marinelli would have a takedown, and then Hamidi would. I mean, this kid is a scrambler, and I didn't think it would work on Marinelli because he's very good station to station. I get a part of your body. I'm going to take it. I'm going to dominate it. And Hamidi made a match out of it. Who will make more adjustments, having felt that person, is going to win that match. And if Hamidi wins, you got to think. And I'm a Marinelli fan. I feel bad for all his NCAA matches. I know a lot of people are not fans of his, but I mean, if he loses this match, if it's that's the semifinal, that would be incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's had one of the best regular season careers ever. It's just last year he got hurt and couldn't finish. He's had the other losses. I mean, they're all in the tournament. They're all the high-placing guys for the most part. Personally, for him, I would like to see him do something well. But, man, the weight class seems to get harder almost every year he's in it.
No doubt. Like, the addition of Karchla, everybody knew it was going to be good. But,
right.
That match, I mean, I don't think it was as close as the score. Did you watch that match?
Which? The Marinelli Karchla?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It was a 1-point match, but I just felt like Karchla controlled ties and position really well. And, it's close enough that Marinelli could beat him in the finals, don't get me wrong. But I think that Karchla has got a tremendous upside as is he? I guess he's just a freshman, right? Like his last year is just one of those years that didn't count.
Who?
Karchla? Yeah.
He got a medical.
Well, plus it was a COVID year, right? So I think 20 was a. Oh, last year was a COVID. Yeah, so it was 20 when the season was. He was a red shirt, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah, I think he redshirted then medical, so I think he should be a freshman.
Got it. And then going back for Penn State fans here, looking at Creighton Edsall, this is a deep, deep weight class.
I think he can win the first one. The Purdue kid, I don't know anything about. I think he's got a good shot of winning that. And then he's going to have Marinelli, which is going to be tough. And then he's going to have to do, to use your term, the yeoman's work on the backside.
Yeah. A shout out to my friend Frank. Married a divorcee, a widow with 4 kids. And I always tell him that's where I came up with that. He's raising 4 kids. So there we go. Frank, love you. All right. So I'm taking Karchla. And I the final to me on this one is going to be just pretty. I'm going to be like pumped, whoever it is. I mean, I imagine whether it is the Bull or Amin. That's where I'm leaning right now.
No, it makes sense.
74. Penn State comes in at 1. Starachi, Massa, Labriola, Kemmerer, Ethan Smith, Bailey O'Reilly. Were his parents big Who fans? Was it Baba O'Reilly? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Niehaus, Purdue, Fisher, Solik, Shannon, McNally, South, O'Neill, and Jimenez. So, crazy. I mean, the seeding here is pretty intense. It's great bracket again here at the Big Tens. Starocki and Kemmerer on the same side. That's a big deal. I think Starocci would have the winner of 8-9, Fisher from Northwestern or Maryland. Don't see that being an issue. Then Kemmerer, national finals right there in the quarter or the semis.
That's tough.
Tough, right? And that their duel. Kemmerer beat him at Bigs. Then Starachi beat him in the finals, and then it was a highly contested duel. Starocki was the whatever you want to call the move, the side headlock, the Merkel looked like Kemmerer had it, and then the referee gave him 2 after nothing changed, then reviewed himself and waved it off. Weird series of events there. What are your thoughts?
I think Starachi still has the path to win, but you're right. It's not easy, and that's not the semifinal you want. But you give them time to game plan, and they'll be ready.
Yeah. So who else do we have here? I mean, we've got a bunch of different studs here. From Ethan Smith. I don't think he's going to give Kemmerer a battle. He's a good wrestler. Don't see it though. Interesting to me is the Logan Massa, Mikey Labriola semifinal. These guys couldn't be more different. The Massa kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a father. He's got all sorts of life going on outside of wrestling, and we've seen it with Bojo and some other people who are parents. It's not necessarily the you're not getting better necessarily, but he's looked pretty good this year.
Yeah, he looked tough. He wrestled Starachi real close. Again, that was another match that Michigan fans are going to think they can flip. Starachi just finds a way to win. I mean, he just wins, and he can be good in those close matches. But if Labriola wrestles like he did against Kemmerer, then he might not make it to the finals.
This is true. So, right, Labriola's had, I don't know if it's an up and down season, but maybe a little inconsistent. Where he lost to Massa 4-1. Massa's only loss is to the Penn State wrestler. He also lost to Niehaus, who's a good wrestler, but is he an elite wrestler? Is he an All-American? Probably not. So, to me, that's going to be, Massa is really good at point A to point B holding position. Labriola is really good at putting you in some crazy positions. I couldn't believe when he rolled Kemmerer through on that cradle. That was like, that 20 seconds was one of the best 20 seconds of wrestling in my life.
It takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to even try it.
No kidding, right? So, I'm going to end up taking Labriola on the bottom side, and even though Starocki is, it's been so close. I mean, I like both these wrestlers. I have to say, I like all the wrestlers in this weight class. I even like Ethan Smith. I like his style of wrestling, his control. But this is, I think it's Starocki, and I think it's Labriola. And I think Starocki wins.
That makes sense. I'm not against it at all. Labriola, like I said, he looked really good against Kemmerer in that last match, and they got him the 3 seed that he wanted. Again, Mass is one of those guys. He came back for the extra year. He came back for the team. Is he going to be able to stay with it, keep pushing? Labriola is going to be home in Nebraska, too, so you never know if that home mat advantage is going to play out.
Absolutely. And the only other thing that I was going to comment on is that, Garrett Niehaus, I guess he's another freshman because of the COVID year. He's only 15-11. He was a stud in Pennsylvania. And this is his year, I think, to do something at Big Tens and NCAAs. He's had moments where he's looked good, like we just talked about, but he's also had moments where he's lost to guys who were not ranked in the top 50. So I don't know what's going on. I like what they're doing at Purdue. It's just one of those things where Niehaus is going to. I think he's got the technique. When is he going to make the step? And I know he's still young, doesn't have maybe the pedigree, but he and Storace were they were foes in high school, and it was close. And Storace made lots of leaps and bounds here. Is that just because he's working out with, two of the best guys in the world, and Aaron Brooks and David Taylor, or multiple guys? So who knows? All right.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's my Niehaus.
I was trying to go back. I was trying to see if Storace and Labriola wrestled in high school.
Oh.
And it doesn't look like they did. Storace, the year he got second, he was lighter than Labriola, and Labriola won it. I was just trying to see if maybe the year after.
Before you start sending me hate mail, I'm a big fan of Kemmerer. I'm glad he's healthy enough to be wrestling right now. I don't know if that was in doubt, but I think that was a little bit in doubt. He's got the heaviest hips at the weight class. So I think, to me, for the path for him to win on Storace is to be able to finish, which he hasn't shown since the Big Tens last year. And, to him, for me, coaching point, I know bores some of you guys, it's his head position. I think he has to bring his head to the opposite side of Carter's body when he's trying to take a shot and trying to finish. Can't be on the same side. Storace's got too many counters.
He's tough.
84, Aaron Brooks comes as the 1, Miles Amin the 2, Caleb Romero the 3, Venz the 4, Assad the 5. Michigan State, I'm not going to pronounce it or mispronounce it. Pazanski, Rutgers, Cochran, Washington, Salazar. Where am I at? Chris Wheeler. What am I talking about? How come I can't say that? Bronigal and Lyon. Hey, this is another tough weight class.
Yeah, it's deep. You could put 5 through 14 any order, and they could easily come out differently.
Yeah.
Top 4 have a little separation, but 5 through 14, that's a total throw them in a hat and see what happens.
Yeah. So Amin's only loss, right? Olympic bronze medalist or a world bronze medalist? Olympic.
Olympic bronze.
Right. Lost to Taylor in the semis. Only loss this year is to Aaron Brooks. For all we know, Brooks is the second best wrestler at 86 kilograms in the world, behind David Taylor. Romero's had a really good season. His only loss is to Brooks, I believe, as well. Venz, the only guy to beat Brooks in college, lost to Brooks this year as well. Assad lost to Brooks as well. Brooks has beaten all these guys. It's pretty hard to think about picking against him.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to pick Brooks to lose again in college. Amin's going to be one that's going to give him his toughest battles for sure. And hopefully Brooks maybe opens it up a little more, goes a little more on the offensive. But I still see him winning, and I agree it's going to be Amin in the finals.
I'm just looking up to see if Amin ended up wrestling Romero, and I can't remember if that was the match that Rocky Jordan was in or not. Nope, Kayla Romero, sudden victory, 3-1. So that's a tight match in the semis. And Amin has got, he's got that mental toughness. He's always pointing to his head when he wins. Brooks, guys just don't break position. And it's hard to pick against a guy. Both of these guys who are so good, especially at the international level. Brooks has wrestled, what was he, a junior, gold, or silver maybe? At least
I think he won juniors.
Juniors, and Amin at the senior level, Vens does have that win, but I think that clearly Amin and Brooks have opened it up. That might have just been Brooks not being used to it as a freshman, and on the other hand,
he's avenged it. He avenged it that year. He pinned him in Big Tens, and then he's avenged it every time since. So
I agree with you. Can't wait to see that match in the finals if it is Amin and Brooks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to see a ton of points there, but we're going to see some incredible positions and guys taking some high-level setups and attacks, and I'm just really looking forward to that bracket. I'm taking Brooks. AB all day.
I agree. And your Iowa fans are going to have to hope Assad can at least get his seed, which is not a lock at all.
It's not. So I think Pazanski he wrestled a pretty tough schedule, and he's seated below Assad. I don't know if they wrestled each other. It just makes you. I know Pazanski. Puz had who did he lose to? Let me just see Assad.
He's had a few rough losses.
Yeah. So right, he lost to the Maryland wrestler Cochran. Lost to Rocky Jordan. Lost to Michigan State. Lost to Aaron Brooks 10-2. Otherwise, he's had some nice wins. So, I'm Iowa fans. Assad needs to show up and come bring it, because sometimes, like I mentioned about a couple other wrestlers, I'm not sure he brings all the intensity in the world. And do we even know that he's 100%? Was Rocky in the lineup the last couple matches or not?
Well, Rocky would be wrestling in Romero's spot.
Oh, you're right. What am I talking about? Smack me across the... It's the whiskey, Jamie.
But Bronigal, I think Bronigal Assad in the round of 16 is a good match.
That's a tough match.
Bronigal's had some big wins, so there's no guarantee that Assad even makes it into the quarters.
Yeah, this is true, right? And does he have the will to go into that wrestle back, which is a grind? And yeah, man, Big Tens are awesome. All right, going to 97. I don't think it's any surprise. Eric Schultz is the 1, Max Dean the 2, Cam Caffey, who gave Dean his only losses, the 3, Jacob Warner's the 4, Brucky's the 5, Panola, Purdue 6, Bolsack, Rutgers 7, Braxton Amos, Gavin Hoffman, Andrew Davison, Jaron Smith, Maryland, is it Foy, Wilhelm, and then Wilborowski from Illinois round out the top 14. It's been said a lot. Without Ferrari in this weight class at nationals, I think Big Ten is, bringing most of the guys. I know that there's a couple guys from the Big 12 and EIWA, but here we are. Dean is ahead of Caffey. Caffey beat him. Good strategy in the duel, but he had some worse losses. That was Dean's only loss. Werner and Bruck.
Schultz got the 1.
Well, he's undefeated, right?
No, 1 loss. Name is Dean.
Dean beat him. No,
yeah.
Buchanan beat him.
Okay.
From Wyoming.
A lot of people have Dean 1, Buchanan 2, Schultz 3.
Yeah. Well, it's it's not easy here. I mean, we can look at, so Dean's first match would be versus the Bolsack-Davison winner. Dean ran up to, I think, right, that's 7-10. He's the 2. He dominated Bolsack in the duel. Took a while, but once he figured out that switch that Bolsack kept hitting him with,
right,
he was able to kind of seal the deal and break it open a little bit towards the end on the mat. 4-5, Brucky Werner. That is an interesting match to me. Dean beat Brucky. Brucky, what is he, a fifth-year senior transfer from
grad transfer from Princeton.
He's lost to Schultz. He lost to Jaron Smith, which was in sudden victory in a high-scoring shootout match. Lost to Luke Stout from Princeton. Panola, but he's also had some reasonable wins. He beat Bolsack. Who else did he beat this year? Is that his best win? Is Bolsack? And he lost to the guy who gave the Nebraska wrestler his only loss. Schultz's only loss. The guy from Wyoming. So this is like anything can happen to me. I'm gonna take Werner over Brutke, but I'm a big fan of Brutke.
Or Bucky, as they have him listed.
Is that what they have him as? Old Patrick Bucky.
They got a few typos in here, I noticed.
Interesting. I've talked to him a little bit. He's rebuilt his body. I've kept telling him to get Suriano to get a mustache. Suriano's hair with a mustache, I think, would really seal the deal for him. But Nick is resistant. Werner. That's a tough match with Brucky. Brucky, he's strong. He's got a really powerful double leg, and all it takes is Brucky getting in on that double leg and putting the first period right on you. And we know that Werner can be exploited on the mat.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, Brucky's biggest nemesis has been mat wrestlers. That's what Dean did to kind of win the match. He wrote him out in the duel. So that's an interesting match. I'm switching around, my man. I'm taking you, Pat Bucky. So we talked about Dean's match. Schultz would have, the winner of the Werner Brucky match. What do you think about?
Good, but he hasn't. He's been the 2 seed the past 2 tournaments, and certainly hasn't made the finals. He's EMP'd at least one of those years. So we'll see if he can live up to the top seed and see if the pressure gets to him or not.
You know what? This is a spot where I think Iowa thinks they can get to the finals. I know Brucky's got some great training partners over there. They're bringing a whole bunch of people in. Cliff Keen. Werner's got some great training partners. Iowa's got to think if they're going to steal something here, it could be they're going to take Schultz out. Going to be Brucky, take Schultz out, and then take their chances in the finals. Caffey beat Dean. I think, Dean may have been a little mentally exhausted because he had the road trip, had the Brucky match, which took an entire match to win, let's say.
Right.
And then, he had Caffey on the Sunday after the Friday night match traveling. Caffey, I love this guy. He's he's just less consistent than Dean. Dean, you know what you're going to get. He's going to bull you around, and then he's going to try and get on top of you and ride the crap out of you. Caffey was able to stop his takedown and kind of make Dean tired.
Yeah, no, that's the matchup. I mean, Dean's wrestling too many close matches, but I would not have wanted to see Caffey again, but we'll see. I mean, that height advantage is big. That makes it real tough for Dean. He struggles with some of these bigger guys. So I'm hoping that he can pull this one out and make the finals at least.
So the only other guy that I wanted to point out is that the Maryland wrestler, Jaron Smith, he is dynamic and can be athletic, and Coach Clemson's kind of doing some stuff down there. This bracket to me would be, as you talked about with Schultz, could be the easiest to blow up. 97 last year, besides Ferrari, Michael Beard, and had a pretty clear path with the bottom part of the bracket at NCAAs blew up, and this one, I kind of see it because between Dean, Caffey, and Werner and Brucky, there's a lot of close matches there. Right, a lot of close matches. So
too many.
Yeah. So I'm a homer. I'm taking Dean, and I'm gonna take it versus Werner in the finals.
That would be good. Yeah, that would be nice to see. I mean, the only thing with the Werner match is let's try to get a little more padding, get a little more done early, and not have to rely on ripping his knee off at the end.
During that match, Warner's knee was all taped up, screaming out that, we didn't even talk about this, but, they have new world rules. If and they haven't clarified this, if you're in a pinning combination and you scream out, the match is over. It's a fall. Well, over, supposedly. That's it. If you scream out and you're wanting a stoppage, like, that's it. Like, the match is over and you lose. I think that was a Friday night match. On Sunday, Warner didn't have any tape. So all that screaming, clearly there was no injury, right? There was nothing there. The tape was gone 2 days later or maybe a week later. I don't know.
Interesting.
And look, college wrestling is the toughest sport in the world. We both know guys who are competing. I know MMA fighters who, even though they're training MMA, they say the D1 grind was way harder than training MMA at the UFC level.
Yeah.
All right. Last bracket, the big men, 285. Stevenson comes as a 1, Cassiope the 2, Kirk Vliet the 3, Paris 4, Davison 5, Lance, Hilger, Orendorff, Luffman, Bullock, Wolf, McDermott, Wilton, and Schrader. Whew. Well, we got the guy who's odds-on favorite to win the Hodge Award here, Stevenson.
Yeah.
I met in Paris, junior world medalist. He's got Davison. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I feel like the top 4 guys are pretty solidified here.
I think 2, 3, or 4 are the ones that are the big shuffle, and then 5 through 8 is throw it in a hat. Stevenson's the clear one. Paris is gonna hopefully come back for 3rd, and then I'm hoping Kirk Fleet wrestles a more smarter match against Cassiope, and I'd love to see him against Stevenson.
Yeah, the only guy, I think we got some Lance, Hilger, guy who's interesting to me is Orendorff. That guy can throw anybody. And I don't think they're going to advance through the championship round, but on the backside, I look at Orendorff as a guy who, if you're going out against him and you're not ready, he's throwing you to your back to open the match. And that's when a heavyweight's going to start questioning their will to compete, right? You got guys 270 on you. And so now that we got that out of the way, because I think Stevenson wins, Paris, they were cordial, it seemed, last year. And then this year, it seemed like Stevenson, I don't know if he turned up the heat on Paris. So Paris, he's a stud, lost to Kirk Fleet. If Kirk Fleet and Cassiope get in there, I don't think we talked about it in the wrap up. All of a sudden Cassiope's double thigh pry is an issue. I brought it up after that Iowa match, and all you got to do is sit really hard. And Cassiope,
Hayden Hidlay put up a real good demo about how to counter that and how to get your. The key to the thigh pry is getting the weight on the hands, and he's got a real good way of how pushing back and then kind of doing a quick sit and getting your feet out from underneath you so that you get your hands back up off the mat.
Interesting. Well, I like that. I don't. The way I've taught it in the past is it's like an exaggerated knee slide into a sit. But
kind of same thing.
Very similar thing. Paris is a less well-rounded wrestler, I think, than the top 3 guys. He's just a bull. He's going to do what he's going to do, and if you can't stop him, he's going to bull you.
Here's a take for you, because if you look at nationals coming up, Stevenson sitting at the 1, Arizona State Schultz is likely sitting at the 2. The Big Ten runner-up is probably going to get the 3.
Yep.
Is Paris going to medical forfeit out of the concies down to 6 or something for a hope they drop him in his seed that he gets on the bottom
side of the bracket, right? Yeah. You got to figure Schultz. I guess Hendrickson from Air Force. whoever wins that.
Well, if Schultz wins, he's an undefeated conference champ. He's going to get the 2.
Both guys are undefeated right now, so whoever it is, I guess, gets the 2.
Yeah.
And you're right. So, the only other guy in the top is Stencil, and he at the MAC, and he's got several losses, so I can't imagine he's gonna interfere. So the question is, do you drop down, or
does Paris say I'm going to medical forfeit and take 6? And does that drop him enough to get him? Say the Big Ten runner-up gets 3rd, then maybe that Pac-12 runner-up gets the 4. Would Paris normally slide into that 4 or 5? If he medical forfeits down to 6, does that get him down to that 6-7 range?
Right. And does he have a better chance versus Cassiope? Does he have a better chance versus Kirk? I mean, Kirkfleet. I don't want to say that. He made some of those takedowns look really easy. Now Paris can, I think, drop his chest and do a little bit of stuff to game plan for him. It's impossible to game plan for Stevenson, but on the bottom side, you might be able to game plan a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, don't be surprised if something happens where people are trying to avoid that 4 or 5 seed. Nobody's going to want it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are going to be some tough things because you got to drop from 4 through 5, right, to get down to 6. Yeah. And you talk about gaming the system. It's one of those things. I don't think Coach Bourmet will do that, but you never look. If you're the 5 or the 4, you get to the semifinals and you're still fighting for 3rd, right?
But if you're on the bottom side, you all think you got a shot to get to the finals.
This is true. But I'm taking Stevenson, and I think that Kirkfleet is going to be game planned and ready. I think that he can take Cassiope down, but he can't scramble with that guy. He's not used to that. So if it becomes a scrambling match and Cassiope is, I guess, on top or scrambling takedowns, the edge is to him. But if it's shot takedown, I'm giving Kirk the advantage, and I'm taking Stevenson to win.
Well, Cassiope's got the upper body, so if he goes upper body with them and Kirk tries to throw or do some of the goofy stuff he did last time, then that leans Cassiope as well.
Yeah, don't do any pummeling and over-unders if you're Kirkfleet. On the other hand, if you were trying to figure it out and see if he can throw you, he can throw you, right? Right? And the other thing is, I've talked about this before, is that, Cassiope's a skilled wrestler. Kirkfleet is like Paris. I don't think he's as well-rounded as Cassiope, just as an overall wrestler. He's a giant, and he may grow into that. I mean, he looks like he could be Andre the Giant. When I see him walk out there, I see, what did they say? Andre the Giant drank 2 cases of beer and 4 handles of vodka in a day. Kirkfleet's not going to do that, but he just looks like he's going to fill into a massive human being.
He's got the frame to put on a lot more weight if he wants to.
Yeah. All said and done, after going all through that, I got to say that I think that Iowa wins the Big Tens.
It's possible. I still think Penn State's going to get a lot of bonus. Looking at the seeds across Iowa, everybody is 2 through 5, and Ayala is 6. So they have no 1s, but they have nobody below a 6.
Yeah.
And they only have 1 5, 1 6. The rest are all 2s and 4s.
Yeah, so I've got, now that I'm correcting my whiskey bath, I've got 1, 2, 3 Penn State champs. Is that right? 4 Penn State champs. And with a possible 5, Dean. So, that's hard to overcome. On the other hand, if you place your entire team 2 through 6, we just saw it at preps, right?
Right. The smaller tournament, it's easier to score, when it's a smaller tournament like that, it's not always the team with the most champs that wins.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Sem just placed everybody really high.
Right.
And
Blair had 6 champs, but not as many total.
Yep.
The bonus points are going to factor in as well, where I think Penn State could pull ahead because of their top-end power should bonus in the first couple rounds.
Well, if anybody's listened this long, you can go back, check my math. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it. Iowa starters, 40% bonus rate. Penn State around 50 or 51. Maybe I'll talk myself out of it. Maybe it's a Penn State Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a point and a half just on seeds alone, but it'll be interesting. We know Penn State doesn't necessarily. This is not the end goal for them. They're shooting for the following tournament, so it's going to be. It's possible. If they don't win it, it's not the end of the year. They know they got the real tournament at the end.
Exactly. Where will you be watching, Jamie?
I'll be right here at home.
Okay. So I will be, I'm sure, texting you as well as a lot of people during this whole tournament. It should be a lot of fun to watch. If, a lot of people say Worlds and Olympics are the best tournament in the world, I think the NCAA championships are. And I think this is in the top 5.
And we said it starts Friday?
Tell you in 1 second. I think
it's
Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday only.
Yep, Saturday and Sunday, and the opening round Eastern Standard Time is
11 a.m.
We'll say it again.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. on the Big Ten Network and Big Ten Plus.
That's awesome. EIWA is on that. They start at 11. They're on Flow. The MAC is ESPN Plus. Big 12 is going to be on ESPN Plus as well.
Is that Corby's tweet? I think I just came across.
Yeah.
All right. Well, go watch. This is it. This is like another huge weekend of wrestling for wrestling fans. Almost all this stuff is streaming. Like 10 years ago, we might have just seen the Big Ten finals, and now we're gonna. If you want, you can watch everything. From ACCs to Pac-12s to Big Tens to EIWAs. Apologize to your families. And look, for the dads out there who are coaching, there's a lot of really big high school wrestling going on still.
Yeah, no doubt. There's PIAA's got some three or four of the regions have to do regionals this weekend, and then it'll be PIAA the following week.
A shout out to Merrick Seaman. Go make your dreams happen. I know you're a lacrosse player. All right, Jamie. Good talk. And I'll talk to you. I guess we'll do this maybe as a wrap up after the tournament.
Sounds good.